Dig South is returning to the Gaillard Center for its 6th year. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with founder and CEO Stanfield Gray one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Stanfield Gray, it's so good to see you.
Quintin, it's great to see you too, my friend. Thank you for having me on the show.
Anytime.
I'm honored.
Oh, thank you greatly.
Certainly.
Yeah, man. So, it's all about Dig South. And from what I understand, the countdown's on 7 days.
That's right. 7 days away from number 6, our 6th year of the Dig South Tech Conference. Hard to believe. Wow, I'm getting old.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
What is it like to be you, Stanfield Gray, obviously the CEO and founder of Dig South? And what does Dig South mean to you?
So you start with like a deep philosophical meta question. What is it like to be you? No softballs here. Right? I love it. I would say that every day I work on improving my outlook, my vantage point of the world. I am so grateful and appreciative of my family, my beautiful wife and 2 kids, and this thing we've built called Dig South together, which continues to inspire me every day. I'm so grateful for the support we get from our sponsors, speakers, attendees, the city, the county, and the entire region of the South, really. It's a movement that's happening for entrepreneurs, and it's building startup ecosystems around the region, and I get to be a small part of that, and I just love it.
What has the movement been like in your mind?
I talk about this a lot, but I sort of attribute it to the growth of mobile and cloud computing as being this critical juncture where people realize that they could work from anywhere. They could work for powerhouse companies, or they could grow and scale a company with very few resources online, and that awareness spread like a virus globally. And in the Southeast, we were obviously behind in terms of recruiting talent, in terms of venture capital available to fund a business. And most of that was concentrated in Silicon Valley, New York, Boston, other big tech centers. But with the advent of mobile and cloud and all of the tools available to all of us now, and what you're doing in the show, 2006, 2007, fast forward over the next decade, people were able to launch initiatives, much like I did with Dig South, with almost nothing, and bootstrap it.
Wow.
And just push out there and make it work, through just hustle and determination.
Exactly.
So for me, that's kind of what it's like, and in my case, is not unique in any stretch of the imagination. So I've traveled to Atlanta and Raleigh-Durham and Jacksonville, Miami, many towns around the Southeast, Greenville, Columbia, Spartanburg, quite a bit. And there are a lot of people that think just like I do in terms of trying to help people scale and grow their companies, homegrown companies that don't have to rely on a large national market. Now, this is not to say that it isn't the right. Sometimes it's absolutely the right move for someone to take their company to a bigger market, a bigger location.
Sure.
But not everybody wants to do that or has the ability to do it, or for various reasons they may be tied to that region.
Sure.
Now it feels like you can find mentors, you can find sympathetic ears, and people that are willing to fund ideas, at home in the Southeast. So that's what it feels like to me, is that there is this sort of loosely tied affiliation of people working toward a similar goal that all have a lot of momentum and get excited when they meet each other. Does that make sense?
It does. I believe so. I want to go back to your story. In 2011, Stanfield Gray attended the Ad Age Digital Conference in New York, inspired by pros from Silicon Valley, New York City, Boston, and other major tech hubs. He left inspired and frustrated that the same opportunities to work at a high level in digital technology and other creative industries were scarce in the South. Inspired and frustrated. What inspired you?
Well, so the founder of Foursquare was at that particular conference, and the Jim Bakoff, who's now the current CEO and chair of Vox Media, he was one of the speakers. Arianna Huffington, who founded HuffPost, of course, and now Thrive Global, she was a speaker, and it was a small group of people. And I looked around the room and I said, well, these people are very bright. They're working on brilliant ideas, but they're not any smarter than many people I know from South Carolina, North Carolina, that would love to work on and develop something like this, but for whatever reason, they are tied to their home place. So I came back thinking, okay, well, what can I do in a small way to contribute and help solve this problem? I have been working as an event planner for several years of my life. I was working in marketing at the College of Charleston. Right. I was excited about social media and the advent of those channels, what was happening around 2011, 2012. And I was a big fan of technology and science fiction, how we can improve our lives, and how we can break through some very old, conservative, traditional ways of doing business that weren't thriving in the digital economy. So I thought, okay, well, I know how to put together a big event, have a great time, create an experience for people that want to deep dive into ideas, share this knowledge with each other, fund each other's companies, work, collaborate, etc. So that, to me, seemed like how I could contribute to that, to help. So I'm a firm believer that it's a complete waste of time to complain about things, just to sit around and say, God, this is terrible, I wish it wasn't like that. You have to take that energy and channel it into solving the problem, improving it, finding a better way, a new solution. And so that's what I did. I said, I'm not going to sit around and just say, oh, woe is me, I'm stuck in Charleston, I can't build a company like this, or I can't do a conference, or my friends are, they're stuck here. Let's put on a solution hat, if you will, as a type of metaphor, and think about, well, what can we do with the limited resources to succeed and grow and champion those ideas right here at home.
You talk about growth. Obviously, today, Dig South has welcomed more than 7,000 attendees and 800 speakers, that is, from the world's leading brands, including Facebook, BuzzFeed, IBM, my favorite Twitter, New York Times, Adobe, and many more, plus the South leading companies, including Blackbard, Red Hat, Benefit Focus, CNN, Coca-Cola, Boomtown, Turner, Terminus, Dixon Hughes Goodman, SPARC, and many, many more. How do you meet Dig South with these attendees and speakers?
That's a great question. You start with who you know. So I had a network of friends and colleagues that I'd worked with over a 20 to 30 year period. And I would just say, hey, my sister worked at CNN Turner, my brother-in-law was at Coca-Cola in the IT division. I had a friend who worked at Facebook, now Instagram. Yeah. I had friends who worked in media, and I just got in touch with all of them, either via email or called them and said, who do you know that's a great speaker and that would love to come to Charleston to participate in a conference like this? Mm-hmm. And so that started the process. And of those 7,000 people we've had over 6 years, I probably had 20,000 no's. So, you have to keep going, and keep going, and keep inviting. Yes. Sometimes it'll take 20 invitations to high-level people to land like one of our major keynotes, for example, which we call a super keynote. Yeah. So it might take me 6 weeks of frustration before finally somebody says yes, and they're 9 times out of 10 the exact right person, perfect for the program, and I wouldn't have gotten to them without all the other no's. So you just have to be willing to fail a lot without giving up.
That's true.
That's the key.
Oh, I agree with that. This year's Dig South, who, what, when, where, why, and how?
Wow, that's a lot of questions. So this year's Dig South will be held April 25th through the 27th at the Charleston Gaillard Center. Beautiful venue. 3 tracks, technology, marketing, and business. Our theme is relevance, so what makes you and your company relevant. Very diverse program in terms of ideas, industries, ethnicities, you name it, across the board. I'm really excited about Soon Yu, who was the former head of innovation for VF Corporation. Right. VF is the parent company for brands like Vans, Timberland, Wrangler, the North Face. Yeah. He has written a new book called The Iconic Advantage. So he's going to come in and talk about, what are those triggers and those assets that you have at your disposal that you can work on, build on to turn your brand into something recognizable with real staying and noticing power over the generations. Then we have Lisa Wang, who is an Olympic gold medal gymnast. Lisa founded an organization called SheWorks, Very ambitious. She's also a writer for several publications, serial entrepreneur. We're super excited about her. Then Rachel Sibley, who is an expert in augmented reality, virtual reality.
Right.
She's also a professor at Singularity University in Silicon Valley.
Wow.
So, we have people at all of those levels, and then we have a lot of excellent companies like Three Pillar Global, Adlotl, Boomtown, many from across the region, several nationally, that will come in and share their stories, provide strategic takeaways for people in a variety of businesses, and then they'll help us just kind of connect and network and build relationships with each other.
How relevant are you?
How relevant am I? That's a great question. Right now, I feel relevant, but I also feel like I have to work on that every single day.
Okay.
I don't think anybody just becomes relevant and there they are and they just stay there and drift or float. I think that's kind of the kiss of death, is just to assume that you've got some sort of mythical staying power without going out and earning it. So for every fan and customer we have at Dig South, I continue to show them my gratitude to create an experience that delivers ROI for them. That return on investment may be new clients, it may be recruiting talent, it may be raising capital. So I feel relevant, but I feel like I earn it. I get up in the morning and say, okay, I got to sustain this relevance, I've got to deliver what our clients need.
What about that? I like that. What will be your takeaway from this year's Dig South?
Well, so you're asking me to predict the future. I don't have a crystal ball here, but if I did have that orb, I would look down into it. Well, this year we changed our strategy a bit. We identified the top 500 tech companies in the South, building an index using Mattermark and Crunchbase.
Oh, yeah.
And that helped us identify exactly who the target audience was. And then we invited leaders from those companies. And then we invited leaders from various global brands. And we set about very intentionally trying to introduce them, make sure that they get that experience when they come here. So when Dig South closes, I hope that people are telling me, wow, I can't believe who I just met. I'm super excited. We pitched to an investor. We're going to have a follow-up meeting next week. I just hired my new head of marketing, here, or somebody that I think is going to be a great asset. Or, I went to this panel discussion and I've been really struggling. I've been stuck in my business. Our marketing strategy wasn't working, or we hadn't thought about how we would grow and scale our team. And I went to this one session and I realized what I was missing, or what I can go back and now apply to that problem to get unstuck and solve it. So for me, any and all of those kind of responses would be a big win and would feel like it was absolutely worth the effort.
I think it's going to be successful this year.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Stanfield Gray, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Quintin. I appreciate being here. I hope you'll all come join us at Dig South. It's next week, Charleston Gaillard Center, April 25th. Thank you.
DigSouth.com.
All right, DigSouth.com. Always have to share the URL.
Exactly right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.